Sada smarami hridi sansphuratmattatvam satchit sukham paramahamsagatim turiyam yasvapna jagara sushuptamavaiti nityam tad brahma nishkalamaham nacha bhuta sangaha tad brahma nishkalamaham nacha bhuta sangaha. I meditate always within my heart on the self-effulgent Atman, the existence, knowledge, bliss absolute, the goal of the great ascetics, the transcendent and the eternal, who is beyond the states of waking, dream, and deep sleep. I am verily that indivisible Brahman and not a combination of material elements. Today we are going to read a lot about the material elements. So we are not that. We are the indivisible, infinite, eternal, blissful Atma. Before going to the chapter, a bit of introduction. For Sankaracharya, who is an Advaitist, who holds that the world process is only an vivarta. Remember? Vivarta. Appearance, illusory appearance due to superimposition. These are the technical terms in Vedanta. What is vivarta? The snake, the rope appearing as snake. That is vivarta. It's an apparent transformation, not the real transformation. Appearance, it's just the appearance. The whole of the talk, we must never forget this point. Whatever be, appearance, appearance, and appearance. It's only appearance due to superimposition. These two things, if you remember, then we will not be thrown out of our balance. This world, it will always try to throw, because we just forget these two things, that it's an appearance due to the superimposition, and that we are always the witness consciousness. True, that we have to remember, that we will not be washed out. Anyway, for Sankaracharya, who has this idea firmly established in his philosophy, for him, the very attempt to describe the world process, the evolution of the world process, is futile. It's no meaning. But since the Upanishads, the scriptures have discussed it, so he gives a place of honor for it. So in that sense, we are studying the evolution of the universe. And the purpose of Advaita Vedanta in describing the universe is, we understand that behind all this, the immutable Brahman is there. And this evolution, this universe has to, all our life's experience has to lead us towards the Brahman, towards the reality. Then the world has any meaning. If that does not, there's no meaning. As we say, come and go, come and go. Creatures also come and go. Animals come and go, we too come and go. No meaning. Until and unless we are analytical, realize and understand the universe, and that understanding helps us towards our goal, whatever, our spiritual goal, then this study has any value for us. You put that, the first introduction. We have the concept of Ishvara in Advaita Vedanta. Ishvara and Jiva. So, Brahman, infinite, eternal, all-pervading, self-effulgent consciousness, when associated which should I trust? I forgot. This one? Huh? So when associated with Maya, Maya is not something external of Brahman. Maya is the very power of Brahman. When it asserts that power, so Brahman associated with Maya. Two levels are given. One is cosmic level and one individual level. At cosmic level, it appears as Brahman with attributes, Saguna Brahma, or you can call it Ishvara, or you can call undifferentiated nature, Avyakta, or Jagat Karan, the very cause of the world. And it's predominantly Sattva and has very little of Rajas and Tamas. And he is the ruler of Maya. He is not under the control. Maya is under his control. How? There is poison in the snake. Poisonous snake. It eats its food through its mouth. Nothing happens to the snake. But when it bites us, it's fatal for us. So it's like that. The same Brahman at individual level, Brahman plus Maya, associated with Maya, at the individual level, it appears, always, that's why I put it in red words, appears as Jiva. That is embodied soul, individual soul. And it's predominantly Rajasic and Tamasic. We know that nature has three elements, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. In the Jiva, it's the Rajas and Tamas predominantly and with little Sattva. And we are subject to Maya, under its control. See, the ruler of Maya, Mayadhish. And this is Mayadhin, means Maya Adhin. We are under the control of Maya. Just like the snake, when it bites us, it's fatal for us. This we need to remember. So we just keep this in the mind. Whenever we say, I say the Lord, the universe, this all-pervading consciousness, it means this. So just to have an idea of it, this chart has been given. We had studied till verse 7. The gist of which is, as long as we dream, we are asleep, we dream, our dream is real for us. When we wake up to normal consciousness, then we know that it was a dream. So this universe is nothing but a dream. As long as we dream of this universe, it's real. But when we wake up to reality, then we can let go because it's a dream. Coming to the 8th verse. Satchidanandamanusyute Satchidatmanyanusyute Nitye Vishnu Prakalpitaha Vyaktayo Vividha Sarva Hatake Katakadivat Satchidatmanyanusyute Nitye Vishnu Prakalpitaha Vyaktayo Vividha Sarva Hatake Katakadivat. All the various forms exist in the imagination of the perceiver. The substratum being the eternal, all-pervading Vishnu, whose nature is existence and intelligence. Names and forms are like bangles and bracelets, and Vishnu is like gold. The essence of the universe. Various objects, starting from our body, mind, intellect, ego, to the whole cosmos, even beyond, if there are. Everything that comes as seen is various form, imagination of the perceiver. Now, well, you can say, Mataji, then how can it be that we all perceive the same universe. You don't imagine like me. If it is an imagination, your imagination will be different, my imagination will, but how is it all of us are imagining same? That is why it is said, the all-pervading Vishnu. Vishnu. That is all-pervading consciousness, or you can see there is an Mahat in cosmic mind. In the cosmic mind is the universe, and we are all part of that cosmic mind. Hence, we share. What I see as a dog, you also see as a dog. Nothing different, because that imagination is in the universal consciousness or universal mind. We are part of it. That is why, if I get liberated, the world still continues. If all minds were same, then with my liberation, all of you must be liberated. But that doesn't happen. A person who works on himself or herself gets rid of the delusion. But the delusion continues for others. That means to say, there is an universal mind, which is in which this imagination, not any flimsy minds can imagine and then it can project a world. It's a cosmic mind. So that is why he has used the word Vishnu. And Vishnu also means all-pervading reality. That reality, that pure consciousness which pervades the whole universe is also Vishnu. And what's the nature of it? Existence and intellect. Satchit. Sat and Chit. Satchit. And names and forms are bangles and bracelets. All the names in all the various forms we see in the universe are nothing but name and form. But the stuff is Satchiratma. See, name and the whole universe has 5 characteristics. There are 5 things in order to perceive an object. That is Asti, Bhati, Priyam. Nama, Rupa. Asti, Bhati, Priyam. It exists, it reveals itself, and it attracts. These 3 are essential nature of an object. And name and form are non-essential. Like he says, names and forms are like bangles and bracelets. Jewels, different varieties of jewels, everything. They cannot be independent of by themselves. They are dependent on the metal which they are made of. Supposing I take away the gold, I said, you keep the bracelets and the chain and the bangles, I'll just take the gold. Does the bracelet and chain remain? No, it goes. But gold can remain even without the bracelet, form of the bracelets or chain. So, Brahman can by itself remain. No manifestation, no problem. It's an eternal reality which always is. The whole universe may be dissolved, maybe destructive, complete destruction of the cosmos may be there. But the reality, what is always there, was there, is there, will be there. This is what the shloka is trying to tell us. Yatha kasho hrishikesho nanopadhigato vibhu tad bhedad bhinnavad bhate tannashe kevalo bhavet. Yatha kasho hrishikesho nanopadhigato vibhu tad bhedad bhinnavad bhate tannashe kevalo bhavet. As the all-pervading akasha, that is space, appears to be diverse on account of its association with various upadhis, which are different from each other, and becomes one on the destructions of the upadhis. So also, the omnipresent Lord appears to be diverse on account of his association with various upadhis and becomes one on the destruction of these upadhis. Now, what's an upadhi? We need to know what an upadhi is. Upadhi is any adventitious object which apparently influences something else to appear differently from what it really is. It doesn't make a real change. It only makes the change appear. It's an apparently it influences. It cannot bring out the complete change in the object. And for instance, we all know when you keep a red flower in front of a crystal, the crystal appears to be red. Or get a blue flower, it reflects blue. But crystal as it is colorless. It's influenced by the color what it comes into contact. That is what he is telling. And once this upadhis is removed, one infinite awareness is there. This whole universe, as I told you, the Ishvara, Saguna Brahma, this whole universe is the upadhi or a limiting adjunct to Brahman, universe, the world. World is an upadhi for Brahman. And what is for you and me? Our body, mind, ego. This is the upadhi. This is the limit. Brahman and Atman are only both same, because in infinite space, there is no duality. In infinity, there is no duality, isn't it? You cannot say this is infinite, that is infinite. Two infinites we don't have. Infinite is always infinity. There can never be duality in it. So this Brahman and Atman has to be one and the same. But what makes all the difference is the so many limiting adjuncts. The whole universe is the Brahman appears as the world. The Atman appears as we human beings, or the animals, birds, plants, trees, whatever it is. All the conscious and animate, inanimate entities. But unless and until this limiting adjunct is removed, we cannot understand that we are one with God. What is limiting us? These are our limitations. It is not allowing us to understand our eternal unity. We are one with God always. But what is obstructing is our limitation. So until and unless this limitation, as we keep on removing our limitations, even the limitations what is on God also goes. So both Tattvamasi we have. Tat and Tvam. Tvam is you. Tat is reality. As you keep on eliminating your coverings, your conception of God also will keep on changing. For a person who can't understand anything other than the body, to him, God is somewhere there up in the sky, like a person, like himself. Usually, you see God with a white beard in the Eden. This is the grossest way of explaining. Then when we can raise to our mental level, where our mental ideas are more prominent, are more real for us than the external world. The external world, you just can ignore it because it looks nothing but like a shade. But my own thoughts are very, very prominent. So our concept of God will be is a cosmic mind. The more we get rid of our coverings, the coverings of the divine also goes. And when completely my coverings are removed, the reality, Tat, also will be removed. And Tat and Tvam will become one indivisible reality. This is the idea. Nanopādivashādyeva jati varnāshramadayah आत्मन्यारोपितास्तो ये रसवर्णादिभेदवत् नानोपाधिवशादेव जाति वर्णाश्रमादयः आत्मन्यारोपितास्तो ये रसवर्णादिभेदवत्. owing to its association with various upadhis, such as caste, color, and position, are superimposed on Atman as flavor, color, and so forth on water. So many upadhis are there. How many? Black man, white man, Asian. So many ideas we are projecting on one pure consciousness. We forget. See, even in the physical level, there are so many things which can unite us. Just under the skin, it's the same red blood, the same flesh all of us have got. It's everything is same. But just what makes the difference is the skin. And our understanding is so limited that we get only influenced by that skin. So all such ideas as caste, high caste, lower caste, this color, this person, that person, it's all the way it's due to ignorance, superimposed on the Atma. Just as we have juice, we put flavors and color, then it's different. But water is what? The substance is water. And what about this? A bit of caste and position. Caste, because this is Hinduism, that is by caste. Due to, in the early days, caste was made according to the people's temperament, depending upon a person who is inclined to meditation, to reasoning. Such a person was considered as a Brahmin. A person who is able to defend, fight, and protect, he is considered as a soldier, a Kshatriya. Very good at business, Vaishya. Very sincere to the core, and a person who keeps everything perfect and who has the loyalty. The Shudra. Shudra is not something a person low, a loyal person. For a loyalty for any ideology, when we don't have, we are worse than Sudras. Loyalty to the ideal, loyalty to the idea, that is the concept. And ashrama, that is position. You see, varna, ashrama. Varna is the caste. Ashrama is the position, the student's state. A student is supposed to be pure in heart, not indulge in everything and waste his or her energy, but invest them in acquiring knowledge. That is brahmacharya. And then after finishing the education, settle in the family. That is grihastha. And then retirement stage, vanaprastha. And then finally, one renounces and becomes an ascetic sannyasi. So, but all the way, we are the pure Atma. Nothing other than that. Panchīkrita mahabhuta sambhavam karma sankitam shariram sukha dukkhanam bhogayatana muchyate. Panchīkrita mahabhutam sambhavam karma sanchitam shariram sukha dukkhanam bhogayatana muchyate. The gross body, the medium through which the soul experiences pleasure and pain, is determined by the past action and formed out of the 5 great subtle elements, which become gross when one half portion of the one subtle element becomes united with 1/8 of each of the other 4. You will put the chart. I told you this upadhis is the what it makes the difference. There are 3 types of upadhis. for us. One is the gross adjunct, then is the subtle body, and the causal body. So he is describing these three bodies which we are endowed with. All these are superimposed on the pure consciousness, the Atman, the gross body. So and so I am. So that is the gross body. And then the subtle body. And then finally, the causal body. So what constitutes the gross body? He says here, it is the medium through which the soul experiences the pleasure and pain. No one need to tell us. We do understand this very well. And why? It's determined by our past action, past actions. Karma, the past karmas. Karmas are of three types. Karmas are of three types. One is accumulated karma, sanchita karma. It's a vast store of karma. Not a few lives, not in this creation. Creation of after creation, we have been coming and going. We are coming and going. We have been just thrown out and we have been sucked in. We have been thrown out, we have been sucked in. Every time this is happening from time immemorial. We cannot even understand. And all those, nothing has gone. We say our phones have what? Gigabytes, this bytes, that bytes. Nothing. That's nothing. Compared to the Sanchita karma which a mind can hold. Vast. Creation after creation. It is going on. And it straight comes only to me. Perfect computer. No change. My karma doesn't go to you or yours doesn't come to me. Perfect. And it's a vast store of accumulated karmas or sanchita karmas. But all of them don't get activated. We sometimes say, don't know in which life what I did, this is happening. We say, it's not that immediately had happened. Only when it comes to fruition, it takes long time. We have this, which is that book? Many Mansion. It's a beautiful book. In that, he says, 2000 years back, a person had done, its consequence was paid in that birth. Karmic results of 2000. That means that soul was suspended. The soul didn't get the opportunity to get a proper body through which he could work it out. So it takes long time. We do not understand. Sri Krishna says, Gahana karmano gatihi. Intricate is the way the karma works. But it works. And when certain karmas are ready for fruition, then the soul takes the form, takes birth to work it out in that form. Those samskaras. It's through law of affinity, we get our birth in particular body, in particular nation, to particular parents, and then we work it out. All does only those which are fruitified, which have come ready for fruitification. And that which has come into fruitification is the prarabdha. We have started it. That is prarabdha karma. And this prarabdha karma will not be cancelled without working. Even if you get liberation, even if you get illumination, enlightenment, we have to work it out because we have started it. The arrow has gone. The sanchita karmas or the accumulated karmas are like those arrows we have in the basket. We haven't. When we get the knowledge, illumination is there, all this can be nullified. Like, for example, a hunter, he has lots of arrows and he is going to target. So he takes an arrow and he aims and shoots it. Or maybe he takes an arrow and sets it to aim. Then a wave of compassion may arise in his mind. I said, no, it's not good. So he may throw it. That is, he got the knowledge and he gave up. But supposing he already shot one, if he has already shot, he has no control over it. The arrow has gone out of the bow and it will invariably hit the target. That is the prarabdha karma. And he may say, no more, I'm not going to practice this hunting business. That is agami karma, which he would have done. He would have done and he would have acquired more evil results. But the knowledge made him, no more. That's it. So we can stop the future coming karmas. We can annihilate or nullify the stored up karmas. But what we have started, the package with which we brought to this earth, in this manifestation, we have to work it out. That is why you said people, saints and sages, so good, haven't done anything wrong in that, still they suffer and go through. What's the reason? They have to work it out. Must have been in the previous life so many things that they were. But good thing about it, they are detached. The knowledge of the Atman makes them detached, just like a coconut, dry coconut, you can make this sound. It has completely detached from the shell. So those elements, souls, they detach from their body, and they can witness, as a witness, they see that this body is going through this. They are not affected by that. The intensity of sorrow will not be there. Physical pain might be there, but the sorrow is not there. This pain, that is not there. They bear it. That's the difference between an illumined soul going through the prarabdha karma and we ordinary people going through the prarabdha. We get devastated. This happened to me. Why did it happen to me? This cry comes. But whereas once the knowledge is there, yes, this has happened. Karma is working out. I remain in own state, in my natural state. So this idea comes. Now, and then there's a lot of things to know. Hope you all won't sleep. So what is this? Panchikrita Mahabhuta Sambhavam Karma Sanchitam, he said. So these are Mahabhutas. See, the whole universe, the elements have come out from Brahman. Or rather, Brahman appears to have become these elements. 5 gross elements: space, air, fire, water, and earth. They are compounds. Panchikrita, they have been compounded. By themselves, they have not much power. But when they are compounded, when they are by themselves, they're so subtle, it cannot be perceived. It can be perceived only when they get compounded. So each gross element consists of 1/2 of each subtle counterpart and 1/8 of each of the 4 remaining subtle elements. See, the elements are, they are subtle elements: space, air, fire, water, earth. And they become, when compounded, they become Mahabhutas, the great gross elements. Space is half. Air, fire, water, earth. Then this is space element. Then air element. Space, fire, water, earth. And then fire, space, air, water, earth. One becomes half. The other is 1/8, 1/8. This is how we get the Mahabhutas. Out of this, the whole universe is come out. Is there? Why is it not coming? Oh. I hope you could follow it. Pancha prana mano buddhi dashendriya samanvitam apanchikrita bhutotham sukshmangam bhoga sadhanam. Pancha prana, the five pranas, mano buddhi, mind and intellect, dashendriya samanvitam, and the 10 organs endowed with all this is apanchikrit bhutam sukshmangam bhoga sadhanam, the subtle body. See, we finished gross body. The gross body was made out of gross elements and made out of the result of our karma. These are the two things we have to remember. But in the subtle body, which is persistent, the gross body, with the destruction of the gross body, it goes. But whereas the subtle body continues, it is this subtle body which migrates from one body to another. The subtle body, the instrument of the soul's experience, consists of the 5 pranas, 10 organs, mind, manas, and buddhi, all from rudimentary elements. This is not Mahabhuta, gross elements, rudimentary elements. Very fine. Before their subdivision. See, there we've got its compound. This is before it can become compound. Before its subdivision and combination with one another. It's just purely as they are. The 5 pranas. So we know, I told you the whole universe is made of the 3 gunas. We should always remember 3 gunas are the elements through which this universe is formed. It's the fundamental components of Prakriti or Maya. And it's the basic matrix out of which this physical universe is created. And we all know, we have studied this Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. They are not qualities. We should remember, they are not qualities or attributes in any sense, but the fundamental substance, subtle element, which constitutes the Prakriti. Prakriti means, nature means it has all these 3. In various ways, it manifests itself. So Sattva is responsible for knowledge and pleasure. And Rajas, activity and passion. And Tamas, indolence and sleep and evil. And when Sattva, Rajas, Tamas are in equal, no creation. With the disturbance of Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, the creation comes. And so here, the Rajasic aspect of the Tanmatras are the rudimentary elements. This pranas are made. What are the pranas? 5 pranas. First is prana. The presence is felt in the breath. Next is apana, downward movement, which expels unassimilated food and drink. The prana is everywhere. It has got different function. Prana is one, but depending upon its function, it has been classified. And then vyana, which moves in all the, if does it move, if the pranas don't move, that place, that organ will not function. Paralyzed. It gets paralyzed. So this vyana is very important for the movement. When it moves, pervades the whole body functions. Then udana, the ascending life force, which helps the soul to pass out of the body. When a person passes out from this body, the prana goes upward. That is, and any upward action, for example, even for vomiting, when we have, it comes out, isn't it? With great difficulty, we bring it out. So the prana pushes it out. And that is called as udana, the upward force. And samana helps in digestion of food, drink, and converts into blood and other materials like sugar and everything. It breaks everything and helps the whole metabolism, everything. Then next is, what did it say? Pancha prana we studied. And then dasha indriya, mind and buddhi, we will later on come. Dasha indriya, 10 organs. Out of that, 5 organs are organs of perception, 5 organs are organs of action. So let's study what the 5 organs of perception. They are hearing, which is made out of sattva element of space. We saw this, the 5 elements: space, air, fire, water, earth. That was, the gross body was made out of the combined elements. This is uncombined. Hearing is made out of pure element of sattva, and touching is sattva element of air. Seeing is sattva element of fire. Tasting is from the sattva element of water, and smelling is from the sattva element of the earth. So what is meant by organs? We should not take organs means this ears, nose. These are the instruments, external gross instruments. But this is the fine nerves. Indriyas are meant something very subtle, made of finer matter, and which functions through the physical instrument. Then 5 organs of action. See how well these philosophers have analyzed the body, how much they have studied. It's amazing. In those days, how there was no, what do you call, the one what is microscope, but see how it was a pure mind. Through pure mind, they could perceive all these truths. The 5 organs of action are tongue, hands, feet, organs of evacuation, organs of generation. These organs are produced by the Rajasic part of the 5 subtle elements. That was of Sattvic, and this is of Rajasic. You know, every element must have Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. So from there it is taken. Then we come to the third. Anadya vidya nirvachya karanopādhiruchyate upadhi titayadanyam atmanam avadharayet. Anadya vidya nirvachya karanopādhiruchyate upadhi titayad anyam atmanam avadharayet. Vidya or nescience is indescribable. Why? For any description, what we need is mind. It's mind which understands the pros and cons of things. But mind itself is a product of ignorance. So that mind can never understand from where the ignorance is coming. Ignorance is the very cause, and the effect is mind. How can effect understand the cause? Do you understand what I meant? It is ignorance or Maya, the products of it is all this. And how can it understand the cause of it? It's the effect. Effect cannot understand the cause. So that is why it is indescribable. What ignorance is, it cannot understand. And it is beginningless. Why beginningless? Because time. Time is again within, it's relative. Time cannot understand its own source. Time is a limitation. It's a product of Maya. So it cannot. So it is beginningless. That is called as the cause. And this is now we are studying the causal body. First, we studied the gross body, which was made of gross elements, Mahabhutas, and which has come out of the results of our karma. The second, we got the pranas, mind, buddhi, and 10 organs, which were made out of the sattva elements of the rudimentary forms, elements. And now this is the third body, which we have got, the causal body. Now we are dealing with the causal body. And ignorance is the cause. Ignorance is the cause. Ignorance itself is the cause. I told you many times I have spoken when what ignorance is according to Advaita. Ajnana, ignorance. it's very difficult to translate into English. I use the word agnana. You all know it. You have been hearing it many times. I hope you will not get confused. Agnana, ignorance, what they say, is not so much ignorance or nescience as non-knowledge. See, it makes a difference. Non-knowledge. It successfully prevents knowledge from arising. Rooted in knowledge, see, rooted in knowledge, that is pure consciousness, as its locus, it unfolds its charms and spells. That is ajnana. Just like the rope appearing as snake. And this ignorance has the three gunas, and it is called as bhavarupam. It is not something negative. It's something positive. You can feel it. It impinges on you. You just cannot ignore it. And that is why. And it has its charms and spells. But only one negative point is, it is jnana virodhi. It is opposed to knowledge. Once the knowledge comes, it disappears. It cannot. Like darkness and light cannot stay together. As soon as the sun rises, the darkness goes. It has to. That shows that it's not an eternal something that we have to be always, that we can get rid of it. We can work on ourselves and get rid of this. No one can say, this is what we are and helpless. No. Work on yourself diligently, you can get it over. And know for certain, the Atman is other than the three Upadhis. This Atman is the substratum because of which only these three bodies you are able to perceive. How beautiful it is, this part. He said, know for certain that the Atman is other than the three Upadhis. The Atman is the witness of all this. I am the witness of this body, this mind, and this ego called Sridharaprana. As pure consciousness, I can look upon itself as an object, not me. I am the eternal subject. I am the pure consciousness, which is what? Enlivening these things. So by constantly reasoning, and we can remain as witnesses of all these three bodies. That know for certain that the Atman is other than these three Upadhis. These Upadhis are dependent on me, but I am not dependent on them. That's the idea. So what happens is you get strength. Knowledge is power. When we have this even intellectual conviction, we get strength. That is the beauty of Advaita. Swamiji always, why did Swamiji stress so much? Advaita brings out a lot of strength. You take the whole responsibility on yourself. You don't blame anyone in Advaita. I have done it, I'll undo it. This strength, we get it from Advaita Vedanta. And these three bodies are dependent on pure consciousness. Pure consciousness is not dependent on it. Pure consciousness by itself can remain as a pure consciousness. But body, mind, intellect, ego is dependent on pure consciousness. How beautiful. There is the detached and independent nature of the Atman has been described by a Vedantist teacher, Vidyaranya, the author of Panchadashi. No, Drigdrishya Viveka. So he says, the gross physical body may be compared to a royal court. The gross physical body may be compared to a royal court. The individualized soul, the jiva, which is the reflection of the Atman, is the king. We have read in the Kathopanishad, chariot, he's sitting in the chariot. He is the owner of the chariot. He is the one who is riding. Individualized Atman, the self. which has I and my, these ideas from it. So that is the king. This is my kingdom and I'm the king, this idea. The mind to the prime minister. And the 5 pranas, the senses, and the 5 objects to the various officers. So a court has various ministers and officers, servants, everything is there, isn't it? So these are the things. The courtiers, entertainers, and the servants, all this. The Atman, the self-luminous consciousness to a great chandelier. Chandelier is, that's how we pronounce, isn't it? Chandelier. So just see, it is the light which is focusing on everybody. Because of that light, everything is seen. The king is seen, the ministers are seen, everything, and all the functions are being done. They are talking, reading, everything is being done there. The Atman illumines all the activities of the gross and the subtle body during waking and dream state, like the chandelier illumining the activities of the court. In the waking state, the whole body, psychophysical organism is at work. But when we sleep, the body is at rest, but the mind is functioning. The mind creates everything. So your mind is busy. And when the king and the officers retire, still the chandelier gives its light, illumining the hall. And what does it reveal? It reveals the absence of the activities. Do you understand how subtle this is? What does the light, when the light was, everybody was there, the light was revealing what? The king, the courtiers, and their all activities, everything is being, all that is revealed. When all have retired, the light is still functioning. And what does it reveal? The absence. In deep sleep, what happens? The body is at rest. The mind is not functioning completely. It has gone to its causal state. Where did the mind go? Mind went into ignorance, which is the whole mind, body, intellect, buddhi is the evolute of ignorance, Maya. It all went into it. It went into seed form. That is why we say, I didn't know anything. Nothing. No function. Absolute. I had a very sound sleep. I didn't know anything. So absence of activities revealed by the light. So the self, the pure consciousness reveals all the 3 bodies. This is, and it is independent of the 3 bodies. And that independent, ever shining Atman is you. You are in its essence, you are that. Not all these 3. That is what the Upanishad is trying to do. Likewise, in deep sleep, the Atman alone shines, revealing its immutable reality and the absence of activities of the body and mind. Thus, the Atman is unrelated witness of the experience of the 3 states, which includes man's diverse activities through this 3 body. It is itself detached from all the bodies. This is the beauty of the Advaita Vedanta presenting itself, that you are completely different from the 3. And finally, this is from the point of body. From the point of body, Advaita is trying to show us the one behind the 3. And now, just quickly, I'll finish it. I think we don't have much time. Panchakoshadi yogena tattanmaya iva sthitah shuddhatma Neelavastradi yogena sphatiko yatha. On account of the union with the 5 sheets, the pure Atman appears to be like them, as the case with crystal, which appears to be endowed with such colors as blue, red, when it comes in contact with blue-red cloth. So here, from the standpoint of sheath, so we have this gross sheath made out of physical elements. Then we have got the pranas, the vital energy, the Pranamaya Kosha. Kosha is a one, it is introduced by Shankara. But in the Upanishad, you don't find this word Kosha. Annamaya Atma, Manomaya Atma, Pranamaya Atma, Vijnanamaya Atma, Anandamaya Atma. Annamaya Atma. Atman associated with the physical body appears as physical body. Atman associated with prana as pranamaya Atma. When it is associated with mind, see, when we are associated with mind, you don't see, I am thinking. I become the thought. I become one with those things. So that is how the whole thing we appropriate to ourselves. We forget that we are pure consciousness. We become one with that reflected consciousness. So we become mind and we become buddhi, and then we become, I am happy. You are pure Atman. What happened to you? You became happy. Anandamaya. I'm happy. I'm sad. Identifying with the mind, I'm sad. Manomaya. I'm strong. Physically, I'm quite strong. Healthy. I'm healthy. What health? Health is to the body, not for your pure consciousness. So when we identify with that, we become that. Just like how the crystal becomes blue-red. So with this, we have finished 14 verses of Atma Bodha, self-knowledge. So next month, we will do. How to turn it off? Finished? Oh, see, that's why here. The quick. The Brahman, pure consciousness, conditioned by individual ignorance, appears as buddhi and jiva, the jivahood, limitation. We have got three bodies: gross body, subtle body, causal body. By sheath, we have got food, vital, mental, intellectual, and blissful. And in the waking state, dream state, deep state. So Atman is beyond the gross body, Dehatraya Vilakshana, Panchakosha Vilakshana, Avastatre Sakshi. Gross Atman is beyond the three bodies and beyond the five sheets and beyond the three states. The witness of the three states is the witness of the three bodies, and it is entirely different from these five sheets. This is the chart. So next month, we will study from the 15th. I don't know how to put it up.
So there's some time for question and answers. Those who have joined us via Zoom, you're welcome to join in as well. You're unmuted. You're able to join in if you like.
Sridharaprana, interesting talk. I just wanted to ask you, right at the beginning, you mentioned that about the outer world and the inner world. And then when you start realizing that the inner world is far more real than the outer, how do you know that?
As we progress in our spiritual life, the struggle is not with the outer world. The struggle is with the inner world. That is, I'm telling from our experience, what we as the spiritual aspirants. Outer problem, I'm not telling when you have got a disease or anything like that. Outer problems doesn't affect so much, but the mind becomes very, very real. Any single little thought in the mind, immediately that comes out of what you call alertness, cultivation of alertness. When we start cultivating alertness, then the very slightest deviation or some thought coming from it, you become conscious of it, and that becomes real, and there you check it. So this is how it comes, through alertness and through detachment and rational thinking and reasoning in the Vedantic spirit. When you only then it becomes. It happens. It's a matter of spiritual earnestness of the spiritual practice.
And when that happens, what sort of what would that manifest like in a person? What would be the outer characteristics?
Outer characteristics, the person will not be very much concerned with the physical body. Like, for example, supposing a terminal disease comes, the person understands that this has happened out of karmic, ignored, and he can give all the more time, more attention to the spiritual aspects of his being. He stands, the person, the sadhaka, the aspirant stands as a witness of the sufferings of the body. It's a wonderful experience. That's how the strength comes, through the conviction. It might not be a realization. It comes, sheer conviction brings so much of. Like I have seen it, you may laugh at it. And when I was very young in the spiritual, in the order, just a couple of years, that's all, I started getting back pain. That was because we used to take cold water bath and we had long hair. Those wet hairs used to be on the back for meditation. 4 o'clock we have bath. And then we sit with that wet hair for the meditation. So within 2 years, I started getting back pain. So I had to tell, because I couldn't sit for a long time. 2 hours was torture. So I spoke to the secretary Mataji. Immediately she arranged for the doctor to say. Then he said, no, little bit of what do you call, some wave, something they do. I don't know. I don't remember what treatment. Ultrasound, something like that. So it was asked. So I went and I was seated there. And next to that department was the place where accidents have been, many people had accidents and all those operations. I saw one person maybe suffering, was screaming at the top of his voice. It's paining. I started wondering, and I was thinking. Immediately I remembered Sri Krishna's word. Swalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhaya. Even the little of this knowledge will enable you from great fear. Isn't it? Because the man with the loss of the physical body, or the ailment of physical body is so much, the man is suffering and he's miserable. You can make it how miserable he was with the way he was behaving. But a spiritual aspirant who has got some understanding wouldn't do that. So I was thinking, oh, this is how Sri Krishna must have said. If this man had some knowledge of the Atman or some Vedantic knowledge, he would have taken it easily and wouldn't have behaved like this. So gross the person is. It's just a simple, that's what I told you, you may think it's silly, but this is how. Even in other things also, you can stop, analyze, and work for it. You will not become impulsive and going and dealing with it. All this happens when our mental life becomes very important and we work on it and we get control over it. Knowledge is power. We get control over it when we understand. That's it. Nothing much. It's all theoretical. That's why I said, for Shankara, this world is nothing but a vivarta. It is an appearance. And to explain the evolution of the world process is just futile, no use. But still he does it because the scripture, respecting an honorable place he has given for this universe in its evolution, all that should enable us to go towards our spiritual reality, which is the basis because of which this manifested world is being perceived. I'm the conscious entity perceiving this. And that I am. Ultimately, this knowledge of the universe should lead to the knowledge of Atma. Then there's a meaning in the knowledge of the universe. Otherwise, nothing. It's not for that. It's the purpose of Advaita is not to explain the universe, but to show that how behind this manifested universe is the conscious, pure consciousness, which is the ultimate reality. I think there's not many
Any-
questions.
Any more questions?
I think not. Thank you.
So we will not be having yoga classes Thursday. Also, next weekend is Easter, so we don't have on Good Friday, we don't have the discussion, we don't have the talk. And of course, I think all of you who are here, we know we have the japa day on Good Friday. And after that, the following weekend, well, Friday, the 5th of April, we have the Bhagavad Gita discussion. That'll be led by Gayatri Pranaji. She'll be flying back in on Tuesday from Sri Lanka. And on Sunday the 7th, again, we'll have as it turns out, again, we'll have the self-knowledge. I've just noticed my head's been cut off by the camera. So with that, thank you for everyone for joining us today.